Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel, and we are going to do a review today on Smackdown from the 17th of April 2020. So we're just going to run through this really quickly. I find Smackdown to be the hardest show to continually watch of the major shows. I have, before they switched to Fox, I find it worse since it's been on Fox. I do not see this as a mainstream quality show. I do not see this as a main network show. And that's just personal opinion. Comment below if you feel that the quality of SmackDown has risen or fallen since the jump to Fox several months back. I really feel it's fallen, and I don't imagine that Fox will put up with it too terribly much longer if they had a hotter prospect project sports series that they could put in its place. I don't see it as being a compelling can't-miss television program. So we will move right into the review here. They show a graphic of Howard Finkel early, obviously his birth date 1950, death date 2020. Then we move into a moment of bliss with Universal Champion Braun Strowman. Alexa Bliss to me is a movie star. She's got movie star written all over her. She has the look, she has the personality, she has the mannerisms, she has the body language. She's got everything that Hollywood could possibly. Sorry about that. The allergy still in my tail here in mid-April. She's got everything that the universe of Hollywood could want. I really hope for her sake that she finds a way to transverse pro wrestling into something better for her, especially with her history of concussions and other injuries, with her history of an eating disorder and issues like that. In an environment as competitive as WWE, I think she would do better in movies where she could set for a role and just fall into the role. I would hope that for her. I would hope that for anyone who has fought as hard as she has fought. Anyway, the women's tag champs Bliss and Cross make their way to the ring. Cross noted that they are the two-time women's tag team champions, defeating the Kabuki Warriors twice. Bliss immediately introduced their guest, Universal Champ Braun Strowman. It's still weird to see Strowman with the championship after really such a chase with Lesnar within the last year or so, and for him to beat Goldberg, this is kind of really bizarre. She referred to him as her friend, which is weird because I assume that Bliss and Cross are supposed to be heels. I assume that, and I'm kind of inquisitive because it doesn't come across well on TV, which is just poor writing. Sometimes they come off as semi-heels, sometimes they come off as complete heels. Other times, nobody knows, and it's kind of weird what's there. Michael Cole, who is my least favorite announcer on all of mainstream television as far as wrestling is concerned anyway, just sounds like a complete yahoo. And the announcement is made that Braun Strowman will be defending against Bray Wyatt at the Money in the Bank, I guess, empty pay-per-view. I don't understand. Again, this to me shows WWE is out of touch. So they have these network specials, which used to be pay-per-view. Got it. Good idea. It gives them an episodic reason every 4 to 6 weeks to end story arcs and really start new story arcs and gives people a reason to buy the network. Okay. Now, we are in the middle of a pandemic. It affects the entire planet. Why in the world is there a need to have an extra empty arena show just because it's on a schedule? I don't get it. WWE is tone deaf. They don't understand real world, and they're too much in their bubble. Now, some would say they have agreements and legal obligations to fulfill and all that, to which I would say, honestly, if they went, being as big an entertainment company as they are, if they went to whatever dealers they had in place and said, look, we're going to postpone this until the quarantine's over. I guess you less than 10% would even have a problem with it or bat an eyelash. Again, it's just WWE being tone deaf that they're not altering their schedule due to, the pandemic and everything associated with that. So, anyway, they congratulate each other on winning. It's then noted that Bray Wyatt is psychotic and somewhat sociopathic. Bray joins via the screen and is confronting Strowman. And then not only that, but there was a flashback to last week where there was a physical confrontation between the two. Strowman pointed out that nobody knows Bray Wyatt as well as he does, but that Strowman has done everything on his own, and there's no reason to take Wyatt seriously, yada, yada, yada. Except for the fact that there's a logic hole here. In theory, if we are to believe that the storylines have some internal logic, it was Bray Wyatt who brought Braun Strowman into the WWE to begin with. Therefore, Braun Strowman has Bray Wyatt to thank for the opportunity, and everything that came from the original opportunity of being brought up to the main roster is as a result of Bray Wyatt indirectly. Had Bray not taken a risk, none of this would have happened. I just hate when there's logic holes in story arcs that really could be tightened up. Braun Strowman could have just as easily said, I owe Bray a little bit. He opened the door for me, but he tried to take everything from me. He tried to pillage. He tried to steal. He tried to borrow without asking, all my talents, all my abilities. He tried to borrow my body to beat people up, and look how it's turned out for him. That's much more plausible for people who are regular watchers to believe than, Braun, they did it on my own speech. It's just stupid. Anyway, Strowman notices that there's a gift box in the corner, and he assumes that Alexa had sent it to him. We never did really find out whether Alexa and Strowman are BFFs or trying to be more off camera. We still don't know, so he believes that Alexa has laid him the gift, and that's not the case. Anyway, Braun tears open the box like it's Christmas morning, and then he says, or he sees that there's an old black sheep mask in the box. He was brought in with such a mask originally. Another mind game by Bray Wyatt, and it works for what it is. Again, a story mask or a storyline where what he hands him is a mask. I don't know. I mean, if I'm out of the mask, what do I care that you still have something I no longer use? I mean, it'd be much better if we had something like his name written in blood on a piece of paper, or Braun is broken written on a piece of paper with matchsticks, or something creative. Just going back to an old story arc is needless, and it's time wasting, and it's really not needed. So anyway, Tamina defeats Sasha Banks with Bayley. Bayley out with Michael Cole and Corey Graves on commentary. I love Bayley on commentary. Should she ever get injured on a more permanent basis, may commentary open up for her. She's phenomenal at it. Banks tries to make peace with Tamina. It doesn't really work. Then the first few spots were kind of clunky. I've never really, I respect Tamina Snuka. I am an admirer of how hard she had to work to get where she is, but she's never clicked with me as a character. The same pulls here. And then, there's especially a botched sunset flip attempt by Sasha Banks somewhere in the early stages here, where I really thought she's going to land on her head and that's not going to be good. Surprised they didn't edit it out with the benefit of editing, although maybe they've gone live on both days now. I don't know where that sits, so maybe my recent comment is unmerited. Anyway, Banks tries backing off and then rolls Tamina up for a near fall. That really doesn't lead too terribly far, as Tamina is back on her feet relatively quickly. Let me just see. My notes ran away from me here. So then we see Banks with a break. Tamina is in control for the majority of the match. Receives several near falls, and when Banks gets things going back in her direction, the pace is much slower. Cole wondered if Banks would get a title shot against Bayley in the future. Bayley avoided the question. Now, okay, keep in mind that, to be fair, for those that weren't here at the time, Bayley and Sasha from TakeOver several years back is probably one of my top 5 favorite women's matches of all time, and probably in my top 20 matches of either gender, at least of the last 20 years plus. But I don't want to see Sasha and Bayley for time number 317. It's not interesting. It's boring. It's not interesting or unpredictable. It's almost to be predicted since they've spent so much time going back and forth and back and forth. Nothing wrong with doing that, but you have to give it room to breathe. Otherwise, you rot out the bread, and, you know, the person can't survive. And to me, like, insulting the intelligence of fans is kind of, to at least some degree, kind of wearing out the bet. Tamina eventually does get the victory and eventually will receive a shot at Bayley by result. Back from break, Kayla Braxton interviews Lacey Evans, who had interfered in the earliest match when things went off kilter. Not really a fan of Lacey Evans. The Southern drawl thing works for me in small doses, but doesn't work for me as a complete character. So then we move on to Sheamus versus Daniel Dehuzajit. I can't even pronounce that. There's so many letters in the eye chart. It's a complete squash match, and this is utterly boobrifically dumb. So, okay, you have an audience that is dropping. Historically, week by week, Smackdown has been dropping. It's only gotten worse since the quarantine. You have a list of superstars whom you can use, however many show up on television. Great. Then you have a complete no-name, nobody come in to take on a guy like Sheamus. Stupid. There has to be someone in the building that wasn't on the card. Someone in the building that's willing to work twice. Someone in the building that's willing to work once as himself and once under a mask. Rather than bringing in somebody else who, A, is going to be intimidated, I would think, by working someone so big, and B, who hasn't shown the greatest ability to recover on a consistent basis. So, to be fair, if I'm looking at this from an objective perspective, we have television that is limited by the number of people watching it, but also limited by the fact that, well, less people are watching wrestling than ever before in WWE demographics. So anyway, the underneath talent has a bit of offense. Sheamus quickly mauls the kid with a series of elbows. I like the fact they were MMA elbows because it gave, I believe it was Michael Cole a chance to ask for the ref to stop it. And then we see brutal knees and a road kick for the win. Michael Cole and Corey Graves then turn their attention to a pre-produced video package on Jeff Hardy. This is one of the best things on SmackDown in months because it makes Jeff Hardy appear human. There are literally millions of dollars of business that can be done off of this piece and the piece, I guess, last week. I didn't catch last week's SmackDown. But basically, Jeff Hardy admits I was a star, then I turned into a drug addict, it was dumb, but I'm on my road to redemption. I mean, that capsulizes the piece in multiple ways. And so here's the deal: WWE needs PR. They need focus of making things better for themselves. They need a PR overhaul, especially after all the layoffs. Send Jeff Hardy into the towns he's going to be in anyway. How silly it is, how stupid it is, how simple it is. You send Jeff Hardy into towns where he's going to be anyway. You let the local school area know, hey, we've got a former felon, but he's made good. He's an international superstar. He did do drugs. He did, get involved in some stupid stuff, but he's good now. Been good for a year. We obviously wait for a year to pass, but been good for a year, been good for 2 years, been good for whatever, and we want you to check out his audio here. Not only that, but on top of that, Jeff Hardy could be sent to schools, talk to kids about bullying, about drug use, about all this stuff. Will WWE do it? No, we have to have rights over our own property, damn it. But it's like they're not property, they're people. And they're people that can make you money, which is the point of business, if you allow them to be themselves, which is the point of creating characters. This is not rocket science. And if I, who've only been at the independent level, who does not have a fancy college degree to be a Hollywood writer, can figure this out, and the simple fact that a billionaire and his cohorts can't, man, what are you all smoking? I want some. Anyway, Hardy is promoted quite well here, and he's talking about wanting to get to a healthy place. He doesn't want to make the same mistakes. He's really committed to getting his life together, etc. and so forth. So then we move on to Money in the Bank qualifying match. Now, along the way, and I don't remember where it is in the show, but it doesn't really matter. They come out with this brilliantly stupid idea that Money in the Bank is going to be carried on throughout the headquarters of WWE, and that basically you're going to have to climb onto the roof of the building, and that's the way you're going to win Money in the Bank and your contract for a future championship shot. Okay, let me see if I got this straight. We just laid off a whole crap load of people. We just sent a bunch of people home to feed their families with no money. But we have enough money to go and destroy a building, because it's not going to be gingerly done, right? Like, they're going to tear up the building, they're going to break chairs and tables and ladders and maybe some glass and all this stuff, right? We've made it okay for that to happen, but we couldn't take care of people with families. What? As if the average WWE fan has not seen enough backstage false count anywhere brawls to beat a fire iron with, and that they're really going to tune in to a network that they pay once a month for anyway just to see this particular match? Excuse me? I know a lot of people are going to say I'm being harsh, but at the end of the day, I don't care. This is stupid. It's not innovative. It's not one of a kind, like Vince always used to say. And I would say this: each hair in my nose is one of a kind. You don't see me putting it on national or international television. It's just some things you don't do. Anyway, so the match itself here. Let's see. The match itself here is Dana Brooke versus Naomi. I've always loved Dana Brooke. I think she's got something really special. It's sad that she has to work harder than many for her athletic breaks, but she really puts the work in. Naomi probably has been one of the most athletic women over the last decade in WWE, so match is decent. Naomi with the early advantage and scores a near fall. Brooke takes over, throws Naomi outside. Brooke throws the face down and uses an old school body scissors, not a favorite of fans, but with these women that especially in Brooke's case, you only got a few years experience, and being in an empty arena might be freaking her out. Good idea to slow things down. Then we see a springboard kick by Naomi for near fall. Naomi attempts with Rana again for the near fall, and then Dana Brooke comes back in and about, attempts a cartwheel splash. Naomi gets the knees up. Naomi tries a reversal, but Brooke rolls her up for a near fall. Naomi fought back and forth, to get revenge for the near fall. And Naomi attempted a split leg moonsault, but missed. Brooke then uses a sunset flip for the win. Now, not the strongest win in the world. Anybody can slip over on a sunset flip finish, and it's the second we've attempted to see tonight. Sloppy editing, and the same finish has two different effects in two different matches on the same evening. But anyway, glad to see Dana Brooke making her way to Money in the Bank. Next segment is going to make my head explode. Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville clear the air. Okay. Not just the days of Claire Lynch in what is now Impact, what then was TNA. Have I seen such hokey, histrionic, hopeless acting as I did from Sonya Deville? Sonya comes out. She's begged Mandy for a long time to come to the ring. She fought back tears. Tears that were bigger than an alligator's teeth. And then wants to tell her something. She's been trying to call her all week. Mandy Rose says, I've been busy, and plus I thought. Mandy makes her way to the ring. She doesn't have anything to say to Deville because of what's already happened. Deville dropped the fake crying immediately, and he says Rose is selfish. Okay. She then launches into this diatribe about how fire and ice, or fire and desire, or fire and flame, or fire and heartburn, or whatever their name is. Again, didn't leave an impression on me, so I really didn't care. Didn't care then, don't care now. But anyway, how she put her life on hold for 5 years to see the team go. And then she calls Mandy Rose a peroxide blonde, as if that's a big insult in 2020. Heck, kids, teenagers and early 20-something name a color that you haven't seen hair dyed, and I bet I could beat you. In other words, so what? She looks typical, and get over yourself. Anyway, then she mocks the relationship with Otis. Deville says that she believes she was going to get kicked to the youth when she was no longer